right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Military History Chronicles. Where today we're gonna kind of, you know this show, we go all over the place. But the focus is gonna be on the 82nd anniversary of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor back in December 7th, 1941, which got us involved. We were involved before that, but yeah, as far as galvanizing the nation to get involved in World War II, that was definitely the event that caused that. So, hey, welcome all those who are on mine and Dan's channel. Well, actually, Dan's channel, but I help him out. NorCal Sports Ever. But hey, thanks for coming over here, talk a little history. Like I said, we kind of get all over the place. We got a Will here, my co-host. What's up, Will?
What's up, man? Can I take your order, please?
He's commemorating the today's anniversary with some traditional.
Wearing something that they probably would have worn when they went into battle.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That is true. They probably did. Mark Graves, I see my sushi chef. Hey, I like Jay. What's up, Jay? I saw you in NorCal. Welcome aboard. I appreciate it. Says original movie, best of all time. Tora. That was a good movie.
Wonderful freaking movie, yes.
Great movie, yes. That was a good movie. That one and Midway, those things are right up there. You know, when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Love that stuff. I'm gonna have to watch that again here soon.
Yeah.
The new Godzilla film rips, by the way.
I'm looking forward to that one, man. I'm telling you.
All right. Who directed it?
God, I don't remember. There's two that's out there right now. There's a Japanese one, and then there's Godzilla plus Kong. And that's a Warner Brothers film.
Gotcha. But like I said, we'll talk some Pearl Harbor stuff here. Of course, we'll do the same thing that we did with the Cuban Missile Crisis. It didn't happen in a vacuum. There was definitely things happening prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor, so we'll kind of get into that a little bit. But hey, I know that there's a lot of things going on in the world. Boy, it seems like I say that every time we have a show. Oh my gosh,
everything
man.
just seems to blow up, man. Oh,
well, okay. We've already highlighted. Let's recap. Got the war in Ukraine still going on. They're stalemated, but they're going into the beginning to get into the winter months, so that's going to be bogged down. There ain't going to be a whole lot happening. You got the Mideast. Israel still blowing the crap out of Hamas. Did you see the new tactic that they used? The IDF?
Which one? The pouring
flooding
water
the tunnels. Yeah, flooding the tunnels. And boy, they supposedly captured like hundreds of them over this last day. They captured hundreds of them getting flushed out of the tunnels. I think is pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Hey, I guess it's better to be flushed out than a bullet in your head.
Yeah.
But so that's going on. Of course, you got the South China Sea. We always talk about that. China's still doing their things over in the South China Sea, and now you got South America.
Yeah, they're deploying troops all over the border.
Well, here this is starting to get pretty into. We talked about it last week. Remember where Venezuela was talking about taking over disputed lands of Guyana, which they say belongs to Venezuela. They had a vote, where 94%, I guess, of the population said, "Hey, we need that land back." But we all know it's all about oil, and supposedly. Venezuela sent letters or notifications to all these oil companies saying you got to turn over all your oil wells to us because we now own it.
Yeah, that's gonna work,
I think
right?
U.S. Southern Command, I think, is starting to get involved a little bit. I don't know what exactly they're going to do. We're getting stretched kind of thin, just a little bit. But yeah, so that's a recap of what's going on in the world. What else am I missing? Anything?
I believe the Guyanese lost a helicopter to the Venezuela.
Oh yeah. I saw something where I don't know if that was an accident or if that was
probably an accident.
Intentional. Probably.
I don't think they shot it. Who knows what the Guyanese even have?
Yep. India and Pakistan, they're always there. Korea versus Korea, yeah, that. I haven't heard of much. I mean, the last time I had my show, they were they were getting a little bit more, what do you call it? Excited on the DMZ. You know, the North Koreans are building more outposts that they had abandoned back in 2018. So things are starting to amp up a little bit over there. We had the Republican debate yesterday. It was the last one, right? Before the primaries?
Yeah, I believe so.
Said, whatever. USA versus USA.
No, he's not wrong.
That's good. Hey, Aaron, I saw your message last night talking about the book by what's her name? Doris. Gosh, I can't remember her name. She was in. Did you ever see Ken Burns' documentary of the Civil War?
Oh yeah.
She's one of the historians that talks a lot about it in there, and she wrote a book called A Team of Rivals. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it talks about how Lincoln brought in all basically his rivals into his cabinet, and it worked out well. I mean, it was fantastic what Lincoln was able to do during the Civil War. Yep, exactly. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to take a gander.
You guys have PBS on Prime. All that stuff is free. Well, it comes with a subscription, obviously. I think it's like $3.99 a month or something like that. Totally worth it. All those Ken Burns documentaries, he did everything from the Vietnam War, the Civil War, to the baseball documentary that he did. That's really well done.
Baseball documentary is fantastic. I try to watch that once a year.
It belongs in a freaking museum, man. Holy crap.
It does. But the Civil War one, man, that one is just...
That was really good. Only word of caution with the Vietnam one, it's kind of left-leaning, a little bit slanted in that direction. But if you could bear that stomach, it's not that big a deal. Actually,
exactly.
It's actually really well done.
And then of course you got, I don't know, did you see the congressional hearings with the different universities presidents talking at Capitol Hill?
I got a little bit of glimpse of it. But I didn't really pay.
I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but it didn't sound too good, boy. It was they look really bad. You know, I'm not going to even get into it, but whatever. Just the stuff, going on with Israel and all. So
yeah.
That's best just to leave that alone because I'm not going to, it's just.
Yeah, that's kind of telling them.
As our good friend MF would say, it is a mess.
Mess, man.
It is a mess. Of course, maybe a little bit later, we're getting into some good old fantasy football. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, right?
We're getting down to it. We're about to enter our playoffs next week.
Yep, true. Yeah, okay, let's get into December 7th, 1941. Man.
Yeah.
That was something. Hey, and I'll tell you what, if you guys want to learn about the Japanese theater and the history kind of that went along with it prior to the war starting off, and then of course all through and to the end. Check out this book. This is an excellent book. Written by Ronald Spector. It's called Eagle Against the Sun. It's the American War with Japan. Fantastic book.
Yeah, I have
lots of information in there. He really gets into how Japan was prior to the Second World War. So he lays down the history prior to it.
I should have pulled the book that I have. It same thing. Describes what the Japanese were doing, what their mindset was, and why they did what they were doing.
Yeah, they get into, and I kind of talked about it. He really gets into the political maneuvering that the Imperial Japanese Navy and the Imperial Japanese Army. The clout that they had was
your Army won.
Amazing.
Your Army won. You got their prime minister.
Even though it was more of a naval operation. Which is weird.
One drug him into the war.
Yeah, exactly. But let's get into it. In the early, in the 1930s, Japan decided to embark upon some imperialism. I guess imperialism.
To say the least, man.
To say the least, they started just taking over swaths of land in the Pacific. Well, the biggest one, of course, being what was going on in China. What do they call that? The northern part of God, there was a name they got for it. Forgive me for not knowing that. But they took over because basically they created an quote unquote incident so the Japanese could get involved and take over that land. Basically, like they were being the rail lines were sabotaged or something to that effect. It was something weird. It was a drummed up operation, of course, to give Japan their quote unquote authorization to be able to take over that part of China.
Right.
But once that happened, the ball started rolling. They got, of course, condemnation by the rest of the world. United States, they started embargoing certain things to Japan, metal, if I'm not mistaken, steel, aluminum, and the most important thing, oil. There was a huge oil embargo that we slapped on the Japanese.
They were running on.
Exactly. What they needed to fuel their ships, whatever it may be, right? So they could, continue their reach. But once that took place, that was basically the demarcation line for Japan saying, you know what, we're going to have to do something about this. And of course, it didn't take place overnight. There was, and like I said, there was a huge political wrangling and exactly how they wanted to react and what they wanted to do. They had a strategy. There was a couple of strategies. There was the southern strategy and the northern strategy, and they selected on the quote unquote the southern. They wanted to get down in Indonesia. What is those other what is all those islands? Let me bring them up back. Malaysia,
the Philippine Islands.
I'm trying to think. Why can't I think of it right now?
Micronesia.
Let's get in here. Makes it a lot easier. Hey, what's up, D-Shot? I saw you in there.
Crack a D-Shot.
It is. All right, bring this out. Whoa. I went way too far. There we go. Yeah, of course. Yeah, here we go. Jakarta. There you go. So you have Indonesia.
Yeah.
Let me get Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, of course, and then all the other, surrounding islands that made up that whole.
Now, a lot of those islands have something in common. They're actually European colonies and also colonies of the United States.
Yes, a lot of Europe. Matter of fact, let me see if is that zoomed in good enough, or is that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's let me go on a list.
Good part of the Southeast Asia right there. It is.
There you go. Because there was a lot of, if I'm not mistaken, down here, there was a lot of rubber, oil. I can't remember what there was a whole bunch of other just precious, not minerals, but resources that they needed to sustain their empire. So they decided, and this was the deal here. This was the southern plan to encompass all of this. Let me zoom out a little bit. The northern plan had to do, of course, coming up over here. And I can't remember if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was just, I think was it even going into the Soviet Union? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they were going to take some of that land over there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But of course, like I said, they decided to come down here because I think this is where most of the resources were to sustain themselves. They didn't want to put themselves in a position where, they wouldn't be able to finish what they wanted to do. But they knew if they were going to come into the South, it was going to piss off European and American, because American there was an American presence in the Philippines, and like you said, there is British, Dutch, French. Well, were the French still there at that time? Yeah, I think they were. Yeah, because they were in Vietnam.
They got their ass kicked.
Yeah, that's right. And so they knew they're going to have to take care of the United States, because they knew just to the that's weird, to the east is the United States, and they knew that they were going to take action. They also knew that over here in Hawaii, look at that. That's where we are going to have, let me get into the right spot. Where's Honolulu? There we go. They knew that this is where majority of the American forces was going to be located. So they had to do something about it. Hence, the plan to attack Pearl Harbor. I'm trying to think. Now, I know Yamamoto planned it out, but he wasn't quite on board on that, right? If I'm not mistaken?
No, he was not on board at all. In fact, he lost his position within the Japanese cabinet. And, he did retain his admiralty, though. They made him in charge of the Japanese fleet, which which goes back into the Imperial Japanese Army versus the IJN.
Right.
Hideki Tojo was the general for the IJA, which is the Imperial Japanese Army, and he was voted into becoming prime minister, which led to Pearl Harbor. So, through his need of conquest and oil. But Yamamoto was pretty close to being called a traitor. In fact, in some circles, he was considered a traitor because he did not follow through with the plan. But
he's lucky he survived because their Japanese are pretty what do you want to call it? Intent on disposing of people who really didn't follow the line.
But in Tojo's words, there was no better competent leader for the Navy other than Yamamoto. So with him, they went. And so that's what saved his ass. It saved his
Gotcha.
He was a major proponent. He loved the United States. He was all about it.
Well, yeah, he get his education in the United States. If I'm not mistaken?
Educated. I mean, he was an ambassador. I mean, he was even in the White House. I mean, in fact, his whole thought was, hey, if we do go to war with the United States, I don't think they understand it. It didn't stop at San Francisco. It doesn't stop at Hawaii. It doesn't stop at San Francisco. You got to go all the way to Washington.
Right.
And he thought that they were taking the United States very lightly, and he knew that if they couldn't get to Washington, there's no point. The war is lost.
All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Just taking a look at Twitter real quick. But yeah, Mark was asking, was America the leading producer of oil back then? That's a good question. Let's resort to the tried and true Google.
Google foo.
Yep. Let's see what we got here.
Well, it has something to do with shipping lanes too.
Yes.
Because we were sustaining our colonies in China and in the Philippines.
Yep. And then, of course, you got the Chinese. They were in. Let's see. By the 1930s, the Seven Sisters dominated oil production in the world. The companies owned nearly all rights to the oil in Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and the Persian Gulf. Hold on, let me see. That's Wikipedia. I don't like that. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Now you know why they attacked on December 7th, right?
Go for it.
It was a Sunday. They figured most personnel wouldn't be around on a Sunday. Or
they wanted to limit the amount of people that were killed.
Right. That too.
Yep. That's what it was. But that didn't matter. Let's see. American Foreign Relations.com. The United States dominated world oil population in the first half of the 20th century. U.S. fields accounted for slightly more than 70% of the world's oil production in 1925, 63% in 1941. Okay, well, there you go.
Oh, there's the answer.
So, yeah, there you go. There's your answer. Very good, Mark. America, well, according to and this is, again, like I said, according to, I don't know what AmericanForeignRelations.com is. I'm trying to see if they have a source. Yeah, see, they're not sourcing it, so I don't know if that's legitimate or not, but that's, maybe you could look that up yourself and see how much oil production the United States was producing in the 1940s. But yeah, there's a lot of oil in the South because, of course, China couldn't get it from the United States, or not China, but Japan couldn't get it from the United States, and so they had to go to the South to be able to get it. So it's pretty, fairly close to Japan, and it still could sustain them. But yeah, and of course, with all that being said, they decided, hey, we're going to go ahead and attack U.S. forces so that they could not come over here and interfere with what they were doing in the South China Sea. It's fantastic. I mean, how they were able to pull that off without alerting anybody is pretty damn. I mean, as far as a military operation, I mean, that was something. That was a hell of an undertaking, because remember, they couldn't have any. They were on basically Otani's camp of what's happening right now is what the Japanese forces were doing when they were sailing towards Hawaii. It was communication blackout. No one, they could not transmit. Everything was based on time, and it was nuts.
Now there is conspiracy theories out there that say that the Americans knew that the attack was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not too informed on that one. I don't even think that's really true, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, that seems like a lot of conspiracy theory type of stuff. I mean,
yeah,
it makes for a discussion. Why not? If you want to discuss it,
but
you got to bring something to the table to show that.
I guess in a real long shot way, you could see that the attacks in Southeast Asia, November 5th of that year, as a precursor to more involvement in potentially in Hawaii, but that's a long shot.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the old top secret operation #1 order that Yamamoto carried out, and
look up
after that.
Check out McToads hitting up, promoting the local library. Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, don't use Wikipedia, man. Wikipedia will throw you.
Oh, Wikipedia is garbage. Yeah, you don't want to do that. But I'll tell you one thing: if a lot of these places are digitizing their work. I mean, that's huge. Digitization is massive. Of course, it takes an awfully long time, depending, to digitize everything. But it's a lot easier to be able to access information now than it was in the past. Like Mick says. In the day, you had to go to the library to find all your sources. What's awesome now.
That's the one thing I miss about not being a student anymore, is having access to this massive library of information. Man.
And you know what? I still got access to it. It's awesome. Since I graduated with my bachelor's and my master's, I still got access to like JSTOR and the school library. Because they'll link all the online resources that you through the school, which is awesome. So
even AKO and JKO, AKO Army Knowledge Online, and they turn into JKO. They have some pretty good stuff on there too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of you got JSTOR, you got what the hell was the one? It started with an E. Abesco.
Oh yeah, Abesco, yeah.
Abesco was another one I found a lot of sources on. Yeah, it's fan. And then, not to mention, you go to certain libraries, they'll digitize their work. Like if the Library of Congress, oh man, you could find so much stuff. Only thing about the Library of Congress is sometimes it's hard to navigate. It's a pain in
trip to go to in person, I imagine.
God, it's something else. But it has a lot of information. But yeah, I mean, if you want to, you want to do Cold War stuff, go look up Reagan Presidential Library, JFK's president. They'll have a lot of sources that you can find, which is fantastic. Wait, you got? Yeah, I did, Mick. I got my bachelor's and my master's in history with a concentration in military history. But yeah, you got to you got to make sure you got to have some good sources. If you don't have any good sources, then it's kind of you're just pissing in the wind. Let's see what we got here. But yeah, so the operation, the Japanese forces, of course, they came in. They came in from the north, coming in south, kind of southwest. They hit all this stuff over here, came over here, hit areas over there. I think if I'm not mistaken, there's some Army Air Corps bases. There was a major Army Air Corps base here because they came down. I think this is like a little valley they flew down. Some of the planes that were here came down the western coast or the eastern coast of Hawaii. They came over to Kano. How do you say that? Kanoe?
KOB. I can't remember now.
Kanoe? Whatever.
Yeah, I always heard it pronounced like.
But they there was a naval base there, and then they came over here, and then of course they came across here and started just decimating Pearl Harbor. Of course, it was two waves. Most of them. There was they had a combination of torpedo bombers, regular bombers, fighter escort. Why didn't Japanese totally destroy her? They did their best. They did their best. They
wasn't exactly on mission though. Well, Oh, I'm not going to say it. You go ahead. Keep going.
No, go for it. Go ahead.
Oh, well, the mission was to destroy the Navy carrier fleet.
That's what it was. Exactly. And the carrier fleet wasn't in port. Thank God. They were out on
trial. They were out, doing exercises.
Exactly. And that's something.
And then once Yamamoto realized that, he knew that they were done. He knew that they were freaking.
Now, here's you don't want to do, as a historian, you don't want to take the road of, what if, because, I mean, anybody could do what ifs. But it would have been interesting to see if the carriers were in port, what type of effect it would have had. With how much we were producing, though, during World War II. Now, granted, at that time, it wasn't as robust, but we cranked it up pretty damn quick.
We did.
Pretty damn quick.
And don't forget, we lost a lot. We lost carriers throughout the war, and we did lose a lot of ships, and we replenished them.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as quickly. So
in about a damn year. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, let's get, you know what? We could get into this while we start talking about Pearl Harbor. We got attacked. It aroused, of course, the American public. They were ready to have, the heads of anyone that ran the Japanese. Well, there was hold on, we'll get into this. So after the attack, America was shocked. We got to get into this war. It led to a whole bunch of different things. Man, where can I go with this? It could go so many different ways. This led to the internment of Japanese Americans, which was a horrible thing that we did. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. But here's another thing. Did I read it in this book? I think it was in this book. Oh no, it was a different book. There was a lot of jealous farmers on the West Coast, jealous of Japanese farmers because
you know what? I'm glad
they were successful. Very successful. And there was a lot of anti-Japanese feelings that were going on in the 1920s, 1930s. So this was just a perfect excuse for them to really, play their hand and being able, hey, we got to get rid of these guys. They're using it as the excuse is, national security. But come on, they wind up taking over their land, and it's a horrible blemish on the nation to undertake such an action.
That's not exactly, people know that very much. Before, obviously, we had Mexican farmers and agriculture here. It was mostly Japanese.
Japanese, huge, all over the West Coast, all the way up to Washington.
That's the reason why there was such a big Japantown in Fresno for the longest time. Even throughout the Central Valley of California, they were growing everything. From all the way from Penryn, California, all the way down to Los Angeles, growing nuts, fruits, and whatnot. They were huge in agriculture.
They're huge, and they're hugely successful. Yeah, and a lot of them were not. They were, as you call, Nisei and
second generation, first time Americans.
Exactly. So some of them were, they're full-blooded Japanese, but they were born in the United States.
Yeah.
But they were still thrown in an internment camp. So Pearl Harbor led to that. Where was I also going to get to? It also led to the output of war materials. Now, America is now on a war footing. And that was that. This led to, a huge manufacturing of all material goods. I mean, the private industry, they just turned into just creating. I mean, you want to talk about the arsenal of democracy? That's where it began.
The attack only made us a bigger beast and a bigger.
Exactly. I mean, we were still, we were producing a little bit because we were still, helping out Lend-Lease and all that stuff in Europe, but it was nothing compared to after Pearl Harbor. It also led to, conferences happening between American and British, because once the Americans entered the war, there had to become an agreement between, where was America's focus going to be? And there's a lot of debate on that too, right? Where, should we have gone after Japan first? Should we have gone after, because, we took the position of Europe first.
Right.
Right. And we're going to have to wait on the whole Pacific, but, they had to come to agreements. if you noticed, we struck an agreement with, I don't know how it all turned out. I have to reread this. I don't want to get too crazy and just going off my memory, but there was an agreement that the U.S. Navy would take care of all British interests in the South China Sea and in Southeast Asia, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And because there's no way the British could do anything in Indonesia, Philippines, all in that area where Japan was. There's no way they could do it. So that's why they say, hey, America, can your Navy protect our assets over there? You know, they had a small contingent in Burma as far as land force, and they had a few ships and everything, but nothing on the level of what America was going to throw at the Japanese. It just was going to take time. You know, you got majority of the fleet was destroyed at Pearl Harbor, you know, minus the carriers. So there was going to be some lag time there before we got involved. But yeah, that was that agreement. We were going to, you know, Europe can focus on, or the UK can focus on the war in Europe. And then, you know, of course, we're going to help with our land forces in Germany, but our naval forces was going to take care of the Pacific. And if you notice, it's quite interesting. You know, it was all Navy and Marines in the Pacific, and it was all Army and Army Air Corps in Europe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. It was simultaneous too. I mean, even though it was Europe first per se, we were still doing. I mean, we had battles going. Guadalcanal, wasn't that 1942?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Our first invasion of Europe was in November of 1942 with the Operation Torch.
Operation Torch, yeah.
Where we landed troops in North Africa to take on the Germans in Africa. Hold on, give me a minute. I got a coughing fit here. Hold on one second.
You're good, man. Fighting words. I'm kidding. I don't care.
All right, there we go. Man, still fighting this cold. It's not as bad, but it's
my grandmother's face, man. She might have to karate chop you.
But yeah, so we had simultaneous things going on. It's pretty fantastic. You look at the chronology of all the operation. You know, as far as Europe, you know, you have Operation Torch in 1942. Then in 1943, we invaded Sicily. Then in 1944, we invaded both Italy and Fortress Europe with Normandy.
Yeah,
and then it just kept going on and on. We were honestly. You're cutting your teeth all the way. You know, you're learning from those operations. So when D-Day came, you know, it didn't become a total disaster. I mean, it could have been, man. If the Germans had,
we didn't trick them. We didn't trick them. It could have been a lot worse.
I mean, even though, you know, we were devastating their industry, but they were still producing. The Germans are still producing, but if they had their forces in the right spot, and if
the only thing
Hitler was woken up from his nap, you know, and deployed his panzers, he could have thrown the Americans back into the channel.
Right.
Hey, what's up, Mo?
Hey, what's up, Matt? What's up, Matthew? Yeah, that's what people also forget that they were still producing, but the thing they couldn't replace it was manpower. They were losing a lot.
That's the issue. And that was one of
the issues. Especially when it came to pilots.
I was just going to say, their Luftwaffe, instead of rotating their pilots so they could train the other one, they kept them on the front line and they just got decimated. Yep.
Yeah,
Mick, damn mods everywhere. Yeah, I pretty much made everyone a mod. I pretty much made everyone a mod.
We got a core little group here, so might as well.
Oh, here. Here. Even though we're talking, you know, December 7th, you know, we go all over the place.
This still ties in.
This whole area, all through here, was all part of Operation Torch.
Yeah, my uncle was there.
Oh yeah, because you got the Germans; they were all over in this. I mean, that was the fight between the Germans and the British were pretty fantastic here in North Africa.
That northern part of Algiers there was called Vichy France.
Vichy France, yeah, they were the Nazi sympathizers. Because if I'm not mistaken, in France, they they ran like the southern part of France or something. They
Yeah.
like all the Germans were up here, but all the Vichy French were down here. They were basically just Nazi sympathizers.
That's all they were. They were all the government leftovers who did not
Yeah.
surrender.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's pretty fantastic to see exactly how all that panned out. What would have, like I said, I hate doing the whole what ifs, but if Japan never attacked Pearl Harbor, what would have happened? Who knows? If the carriers are there, what would have happened? I mean, yeah, you could go round and round with that, but
again,
let's bring it around to today.
Good. I was gonna say even if our carriers were sunk, our response was so delayed that it probably wouldn't have mattered. We probably would have already brought back some other carriers. We probably would have manufactured at least another one or two before we came back to Guadalcanal in 1942. So,
all right, here. You know what? You can't draw on this, can you? Hold on. Let me see.
Wonder if it's a road map you can draw. Huh? I'll try to search for one while you're doing that.
You know what? What can I do? I could do the good old print screen. There we go. Actually, can I?
Here we go. Shit. Europe countries. World War II. They even have World War II now. Is it free?
Dylan D-Day Dodd. Huh. That's something. Huh. Dylan D-Day Dodd. That's pretty good baseball. And that's something that we'll probably have to do too. Military history and baseball. There's a lot of it there. There's a lot to uncover on that one because we had a lot of baseball people involved in the war. Many wars. I should become a history teacher. Well, maybe one day. We'll see. No, Matt was in there, Mick. Matt was in there for a little bit for our show. You know what I could do?
I was in there. That was hilarious, man, with the dog.
Oh, was that great? Was that great what we did with the dog? Man, oh man. Damn, that was good. Wouldn't that be something if he goes to the Angels? Man. Okay, here, hold on. Let me do this. Right? Oh, yeah, here we go.
There's got to be.
Let me go. Print screen. I'm good. I'm good. I think I got this. Print screen. Let's encompass everything I need here. Yeah, it's not going to be like as zoomed in as I want it to be with blank presentation. This is kind of like a dry erase board almost.
Yeah, I'm trying to find you one. That's
there we go. We're good. I think I do this. It's here. Draw. Now I'm not going to be able to see the chat, so you could let me know if anyone says anything here. All right. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna get. That's as good as we're gonna get in here. All right, let's go. Go with red. So where do we have tensions today in the world?
Let's go. Oh boy.
Let's go. Let's go here. Let's go. Well, no, hold on. How do we want to do this? Let's do this here. But minus Saudi Arabia and Oman.
Hold on a second.
What else do we got here?
I don't think it's showing up. Oh, it's still on Google Maps.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm not presenting the right thing. I was still on Google Maps. There we go. How's that?
Bueno.
There we go. Then we got here.
Oh, wow. It kind of looks like the same as it ever was, huh?
Got here. We got here.
Shit, you can even draw our own. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know where I'm going.
I'll smell your stuff in there.
Right there. Wait, hold on. Let me change this color. You know what? There. And there. Man, that's a whole lot of red, ain't it? That is a whole lot of red. So here we go. Okay.
Well, you can even do China
and the reason why I
India,
did the South China Sea, that is China. That's China. Okay.
Right.
Now we got all this going on, right? How do I go with this? Without the United States having boots on the ground, would you say we're at war?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good point there, D-Shot. Hold on.
Mexico.
No, not just this.
Yeah, that's
There we go.
Let's say Mexico.
That's an issue. That is definitely an issue. Okay.
Oh,
Would you say we're at war? Without, like I said, without our troops being boots on the ground, are we at war? Okay. McToads, yes. Tyler, what's up? Good to see you. Yes. Okay. Okay. Do you think our defense production is ramping up? Corey Cooper, what's up? Matt.
Hey, Corey.
So our defense production,
no,
are we at the levels that we need to be?
No, if anything,
look at all that red.
Passionate.
Look at all that red. Now, America is involved in every single one of those areas, right? Some more than others, right? So why are we not stepping this up? To me, that's a dereliction of duty. That's just me.
Sure.
It's a dereliction of duty. Look at this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, after December 7th, 1941, our nation was galvanized, as I said before. President said, hey, we gotta do something to, fight this war. And they had the Defense Authorization Act, or no, Defense Production Act, DPA, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And America went to work to make sure we had what we needed to win a war in two different parts of the world, right?
Right.
So I think we need to be on that type of footing, because I'm telling you something. You look at all that red, there's a lot going on. And if you don't think that there's other things going on behind that, then you're sorely mistaken.
Oh, for sure.
And I understand that there's no declaration of war. I get that. But you still can, there's ways that can be done. There are ways. I mean, they did the Defense Production Act during COVID to manufacture COVID type of stuff. So if you could do it during a pandemic, you could do it when the world is literally on fire, not nuclear fire, thank God, but the world is on fire. And the only way that you deter, I've said this a bunch of times, the only way you could deter is having a strong military, and a strong military that is willing to sit there and say, you know what? You mess up, you're going to pay the consequences. Because you see what's happening in the Middle East. You got commercial shipping that's being attacked. You got American forces who are being attacked. As a matter of fact, there was another attack in Iraq. I think I think they hit the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's been constant attacks by Iranian-backed terrorist organizations in Iraq. Not to mention what Israel's going through in their country. You got the Chinese who, they're pushed. If you don't think the Chinese are looking at the calendar and wondering when was the best time to go hit at Taiwan, then I don't know what to tell you guys, because that's exactly what's happening. Everyone sees it. Why do you think everything's happening over here in South America? Why do you think there's things going on over here?
Look, hey, it's look what's going on over here while we do something over here.
It's a strategic move. Absolutely.
Right, exactly. That's what it is.
It's a strategic move. And they know they could get away with it because we're not showing any resolve. We're not showing resolve in the executive. We're not showing any resolve in the legislative. And I'm talking about at the federal level. There's people asleep at the wheel. And I don't know. Unfortunately, I think, is it going to take another quote unquote Pearl Harbor for people to start waking up? I mean, we had a Pearl Harbor in September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
What do we need to happen for people to, I mean, it's just, you could see it. Everyone could see it. This, you know, we're not in the dark ages of where we're reliant on newspapers to give us the information, which could be days or even weeks behind what's actually occurring. We were able to find out stuff instantaneously. We are a very well-informed civilization. So to sit there and the complacency that is occurring right now is just, to me, it's unacceptable. And there needs to be a change. And there needs to be a change before something drastic happens. Because the last thing I want to see is war coming to our home front. You know, we don't need that. We don't need that. Because that's the road that we're heading down. And it scares the living crap out of me. Because you just see all these things that are popping off. And there has to be something that gives. I just don't know. I've been thinking about this, you know, ever since I said I was going to do a December 7th anniversary thing, and this is what I'm thinking about. You just
Right.
see everything that's happening, and it's the people who are in charge are more worried about their reelection. I've said this a million times. They're more worried about their reelection and stuff that really doesn't matter, rather than the things that are important.
Yeah, this reminds me, 2014, 2015. You know, we had, you know, that was obviously Obama was in office, and they were cutting the defense budget back then. Even
now, Senior's asking what I'm suggesting.
Oh.
What I'm suggesting is strong leadership, and to go along with that strong leadership, let's make sure that our country is on a footing to where we're going to be able to protect ourselves and our interests, whatever those interests may be. I mean, some people may agree or disagree on what, you know, quote unquote, an American interest is, but this is the world right now is more global than any other time in history, right?
Right.
So whatever, we can't sit there and say, you know, like in the 1940s or even in World War I, being able to be isolationist was an easy thing to do. Look, you got two large oceans. You got the North Atlantic and Atlantic over here, and way over here, because I can't get it. You got the Pacific. We're protected by two huge bodies of water. We didn't have to worry about getting involved in Europe or the rest of the world. But we're all interconnected, one way or another. Whether you like it or not, we are interconnected. I don't agree with the whole globalist thing, because each nation should have sovereignty.
Yes.
Hold on, I'm gonna wind up coughing. Just give me a minute. Hold. Because I'm raring right now. Hold on one second.
I agree with you, Corey. Take a look at this protest out there in the UK. Do you see a single Anglo-Saxon in that crowd? Nope.
All right, now I'm back from coughing. Maybe it's probably going to happen again. But yeah, what I'm saying is, whatever happens in the rest of the world is going to affect us. We have allies, all right? And you got to protect your allies. You have to, just as your allies should protect us in the event of something happening. But you can't let these totalitarian dictators. What the hell is that? Is that you? Yeah, okay. You can't let totalitarian governments, you can't let dictators, you can't let these rogue machines dictate, rogue regimes to dictate what the heck, is going on with our nation. You can't. We got to be prepared. That's all I'm saying is you got to be prepared. I'm not advocating that we go to war. I'm not doing that. That's the worst thing we could do. You don't want to do that. But we have to be prepared. And I don't think we are. We're going through our equipment, sending to Ukraine, sending to Israel. Do you realize there's $12 billion worth of military equipment that has not been fulfilled to Taiwan? What is Taiwan supposed to do if we don't fulfill our obligation? And I'm telling you right now, if China was to encircle Taiwan, there's nothing we can do about it.
Oh, no.
Absolutely nothing. Because they have formulated their military. They understand. What do we have to do to defend Taiwan? What is our main military strategy to defend Taiwan?
We don't have any right
It's
now.
the Navy, right? It's going to be aircraft carriers.
It's supposed to be the Navy. We
right?
don't have anybody out there doing
Well, the
anything.
Chinese have missiles that can knock out our carriers and our ships from 1,000 miles away. And we don't have the right military equipment to defend them. So what are you going to do? And on top of that, what did I say? By 2025, I think the Chinese are supposed to have over 400 ships in their Navy. Right now, the United States has 290. And by 2025, I think it's actually supposed to be less. So how are you supposed to compete? Look, in the history, in the history of, let's say, recent history of everyone that's in this chat, anyone that's alive today, we have lived in a country that has been at the top of every other nation in this world, right? We've never had a peer competitor. Even the old Soviet Union was not a peer to the United States, both economically and militarily. China's getting really close to being a peer with the United States, and the United States has never faced that. So what are you going to do to fix that? What are you going to do? I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I do know that you can't sit here and allow a country like China. Yeah, how are you going to stop? I don't Corey. I don't know.
You don't at this point.
But we got to show we're United States of America. We have the means to be able to. We're still the biggest economy in the world. Even though China, they're getting close, but they're also investing in their military a whole lot more than what we are.
Yeah.
And it's almost getting to the point of not parity, but it's getting damn close. It's getting damn close.
I mean, along with equipment, you also need competent.
Yes, the Navy is still the Navy right now, but it's not the rate that we're going. That's the problem. The rate that we're going, it's not. China is in a massive buildup, and they're willing to spend a lot of money to be able to eclipse Americans' presence in the Pacific. So you're going to have to do something about it. You're going to have to. I mean, if we could spend, oh my God, I can't even believe I'm saying this. If we could spend $3 trillion, did you hear what I just said? Isn't that how much we spent? The government spent $3 trillion with a T during the COVID pandemic. $3 trillion. But yeah, look at the state of our military right now. It's not. Don't get me wrong. We're still strong, but it's getting close, guys. It's getting close. And you got antagonizers out there who are pushing us to the limits because we're not showing strong leadership. I mean, what do you got? You got commercial shipping that's being attacked in the Red Sea, and you're not going to sit there and attack the Houthis? Why wouldn't you? Why would you not attack a terrorist organization who's attacking maritime shipping? Oh, you knocked down a couple of drones. Whoopie wow. What kind of message is that sending? You have American troops who are getting bombed every day in Iraq. Guess it doesn't matter.
Well, don't forget you also need competent people in charge, and we let all those guys go back in 2000 and what was our first purge? Let me think. 2012 was a big purge.
Oh, there's been a few Yeah, there was a purge in the 90s as well. When I first came into the Air Force, there was a big drawdown. Like 94, 95, there was a big drawdown. It happens. It's cyclical. It happens.
But we lost so many good. I'll tell you something scary. I mean, maybe people on the chat might not get it, but did you know that the United States Army doesn't even train with iron sights anymore?
Really? They don't train with iron sights?
They train with ACOGs only. So pray tell, what happens if little Joe Blow's ACOG goes out when he's fighting the Chinese?
He ain't gonna know how to shoot. Yeah.
He ain't gonna know how to shoot. You don't. Come on.
Yes. Putin and Xi are straight up dictators. And I don't give that whole the APEC conference that happened in San Francisco. Come on. That was a dog and pony show. Oh, that's not going to stop Xi and Putin from doing what they want to do. And you can add to the list Maduro in Venezuela.
Yep.
because he's in cahoots with Iran. He's had Navy ships dock in Iran.
Oh, he knows what he's doing.
He's in cahoots with China. China's in cahoots with. Where do you think China's getting all the oil from?
He's getting
two places. Well, Russia and Iran, but primarily Iran, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're getting a lot of their oil from Iran. They're all in cahoots, man. The Ayatollah Khomeini, that's who I was going to go with too. So you got Putin, Xi, the Ayatollah, you got Maduro. Who else do we have? You got that's the ones that I just know right now. Could there be other antagonists out there? Turkey's leader. Turkey's leader is kind of
Erdogan.
Yep. Don't know really about him. Oh man, dude.
Corey really is, man. And
yeah, I see what he said there with the diversity training.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
Really is, man. They don't even God, you could be they don't even have a weight standard anymore.
Look, we gotta get back to our core principles here, people. Okay, if you get back to the core principles, everyone is going to be treated fairly, right? Everyone will be treated fairly. We have the Constitution of the United States, which spells out exactly what the government can and cannot do. All right, the rights that are provided us. If you follow the Constitution, we're going to be fine. The problem is it's the people, and it's certain types of people who like to trample upon that and use it for their own advantage, whatever it may be. So as long as we did that, gosh, you know what? This country would be so much better, right? Wouldn't it be? Just some common sense. That's all I want. I want some common sense, some strong leadership to understand. Look, I'm not saying you got to be a bully. You don't have to be a bully to be a strong leader.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. You just have to have strong leadership so people understand.
One of the biggest problems we have now is we have several thousand people in office who don't care about anything about other than.
And that's what concerns me.
They don't give a rat's ass.
And to a certain extent, you got to blame the voters too. You're voting these people in.
Right.
You're making these people either your representative, your senator, your president, whatever it may be. So we got to do better. We got to do better as a nation, because right now we're so damn divided. We're divided more than any time. And really, this whole Israeli conflict, it's throwing even a further divide. It's just crazy. Some of the stuff that I've seen, it's like, I can't believe that I'm living in the world today. We're almost in 2024, and it feels like we're in 1934. It's crazy. I wish I had the answers, but I don't. And I agree with you, Corey. I'm not saying Trump is the issue. I'm not going to sit here and say that, I'm a Trumper. That's not what I'm saying. I want strong leadership. That's what I want. I want strong leadership, whatever it means. And it doesn't mean a strong leader doesn't go out on, TV and just start personally attacking somebody. I want someone who's going to have actual good policy, who stands by it. Look, not everyone's not going to agree with everything, right. But I want someone who has a good policy and sticks behind it and feels like that's going to be best for the nation. And if it's best for the nation, then hey, I'll get behind it. But if I feel like it's not, then I'm not. Oh, yes. Yeah, it feels like the war. Well, it feels like war sadly brewing. Yeah.
We're United States is a tree that's rotting from the inside out. That's the best analogy.
And gosh dang it, man. How many times I got to bring up Lincoln's speech? Yeah, you know what? Let me bring it up. Why not? Let me bring it.
That was a pretty good time.
I'll bring it because there's some new guys in here and they haven't heard me say this yet. You could carry on while I'm looking for this.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Go. I'll be here shortly.
Oh, you good? I did find a pretty good map maker for the future reference.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I put it in the private chat. I think it's pretty damn cool. Thank God for National Geographic, man. They're actually worth the crap sometimes. They used to be worth the crap back in the day, but now they're old.
Yeah.
Ooh, yikes. Stay away from them. Jesus. Wow, everything's turned into a pile of doo-doo.
Is this the right one?
Kind of what we're talking about right now. I'm just worried about our quality of the troops over anything. I mean, obviously, we need equipment and whatnot.
Yeah, 1838. That's when this happened. This is when he gave this speech. Boom, 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 boom. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, here we go.
Right. And you know what, Matthew? That there should be no such thing as a career politician.
Nope.
That should not even be an option to be make a politics a career. F that. Get rid of that crap. But the moment you talk about term limits, these people get totally guarded. They almost want to kill you. I mean, good Lord. I mean, we just had Feinstein. How long is she? Or she was in office for how long? I mean, since the freaking 50s or 60s. Get out of here. And then she gets rich on top. I mean, all these people also, they're bought and paid for by the lobbyists, so they come out filthy freaking rich. That's why they don't want any term limits. Oh, freaking A, Corey. Yeah, D-Shot. I mean, yeah, she was literally I mean, I don't mean this in the wrong way, but I mean, she was literally a freaking mush brain, and they were still letting her go to Congress. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way she can. At that stage in her illness or what have you, could she have been competent? Give me a freaking break.
Okay, here we go.
What a mock.
All right, here we go.
What we used to be.
This is the speech that Abraham Lincoln gave in 1838. It was titled "The Perpetuation of Our Political Institutions." There we go. January 27th, 1838. He was addressing the Young Men's Lyceum of Springfield, Illinois. Lyceum, as a matter of fact, that played a huge part in why the North was able to outproduce the South. But that's a discussion for another day. All right, where do I want to go here? There's a certain part I want to get it, but I'm going to get into this. He goes, starting right here. He goes, "This task of gratitude to our fathers, justice to ourselves, duty to prosperity, and love for our species in general, all imperatively require us faithfully to perform." Here we go. This is where I'm going. How then shall we perform it? At what point shall we expect the approach of danger? By what means shall we fortify against it? Shall we expect some transatlantic military giant to step the ocean and crush us at a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe, Asia, Africa combined, with all the treasure of the earth, our own excepted, in their military chest, with a Bonaparte for a commander, could not by force take a drink from the Ohio or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trial of 1,000 years. At what point, then, is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring from amongst us. Let me repeat that. It must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of freemen, we must live through all time or die by suicide. I mean, Abraham Lincoln stated this in 1838. This is why this guy was the greatest president that's ever lived. So there you go. It must spring up amongst us. He understood what the deal was. We're gonna eat ourselves from inside out. It's not going to be some other nation that's going to be able to trounce upon us. We are going to be, as he said, the authors and finishers of the doom of this nation. And there's times that we've persevered. During both World Wars, that could have split us apart. The 60s, oh my God, Vietnam War, the late 60s, early 70s, nation damn near came apart. The Civil War. I mean, you know how close we were to not even being the United States of America, or if it was, it wouldn't be what it is today. And we persevered. I'm hoping, this is what we're experiencing today with a lot of division in this specific nation of ours. Do we come through it? More than likely we should, but there's a lot of angst. And I just hope, there's people out there that can kind of see this and understand, there needs to be a change.
Whew. Hope so.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully.
Man,
I don't know what the next 20 years is going to bring for us, man. This is
absolutely. Really... Putin. Yeah, everybody is. Putin, Xi, all these bad actors, they're all trying to influence, the division in America. Hamas sees it. Look what Hamas, goodness gracious. How can a terrorist organization have such an impact on our youth here in the United States? Is that the most incredible thing that you have ever seen? It's absolutely a terrorist organization. Yes, exactly. And that's one of the things. It's scary. Social media. It. Don't get me wrong. It's got its pluses, but it's got a lot of minuses. And unfortunately, some of these young kids.
Well, I mean,
and I don't mean about young kids. I talk about even in their 20s. They're easily influenced through social media without really figuring it out. Hey, what am I reading? And is this legitimate or is it not? Just a little bit critical thinking. That's what it's going to consist of. If you have critical thinking, it trumps anything social media could do.
Well, honestly, I believe we have more enemies within our own country than we do anywhere else. You have these so-called teachers who are pushing this Marxist BS to hate the country. You shouldn't be. You're an evil colonizer. Patriotism is bad. They're sitting there teaching all this crap. They have a whole generation of young men, women who don't believe in the United States. They believe in open borders. They believe in one global government and all this weird BS. That's what that's from. That's why you're seeing all these little protests out there. These kids don't have any freaking clue what they're really doing.
Senior says Putin is. Yeah, he was. He was a KGB colonel.
Well, he was. I believe he was a leader, wasn't he?
No, he was just a colonel. Oh. But a colonel in the KGB had, back in the Soviet Union days, those guys were no joke. He was a spy, 100%. Exactly. He's corrupt as hell. He's not a leader. He ain't no leader. Tyler Berger says, Eric, do you think that the world fears hydrogen bomb? Ooh, excuse me. Considering it's never been used in war. Absolutely. Well, it's not even, and right now it's not even the quote unquote the devastation of a hydrogen bomb. We got so many nuclear bombs that aren't hydrogen that it doesn't matter. There's just so many of them.
Oh, Aaron,
if there's ever a nuclear war, it's just the world's going to become the void of all life, except for cockroaches.
I think Aaron. I think honestly, it still started in the '60s. The Great Divide, great rot within, if you will.
Yeah, it could have. There was definitely, if I'm not mistaken, I think communists had something to do with that as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
They infiltrated the education. I mean, it took a while for it to, get to where it is, but you could see the effects of it today. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Again, you got teachers out there pushing open borders. What's a country without borders? It's not a country.
Yeah, you got to have borders. You got to have your sovereignty.
Patriot, all that fun stuff. Yeah, interesting times.
It is.
If I was in school right now, I'd probably get kicked the hell on out. To be honest with you. God.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's changed even recently. I mean, you don't even have to go back a decade to show how much it is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Look at the rise of social people not believing in journalism anymore, so they are constantly. The problem is some of this legacy media hasn't done themselves any justice. It really hasn't, because they're not exactly. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something right now. Throughout the history of journalism, journalism has always been, putting out a message that is definitely leaning a certain direction, whether it's left, whether it's right. The propaganda is not innocent. So is there times where they just print the facts? Absolutely. But there's also a lot of times where journalism was used as a tool. And political strife is not something that's not indifferent to the United States. And journalism, yes, I would agree, it's a backbone, because without without free press, you're basically the Soviet Union and Korea or North Korea and China. But the problem is, a lot of that is there's. I'm not saying that we're near that. We're not, but there is definitely a push to only show one side of a story, or out and out fabricate lies.
Right.
Out and out. Remember Dan Rather? Remember Dan Rather at CBS?
Oh yeah, he was good.
He wasn't good. No, he remember he was pushing out the fake stuff about George W. Saying that there was documents showing that he tried to, and it was all fabricated, and he knew it. and he still went out and put out there. So you got to be careful. I like what Senior says, because journalism is not something to take lightly. That is a cherished freedom and a right that should not be, just like with any other right, just like with the right of freedom of religion, freedom of, you got freedom of press, Second Amendment, of course, the right to bear arms, not to incriminate yourself, habeas corpus, you name it. All those rights are equally important. So you can't take advantage. I mean, sometimes people take advantage of journalism to use it for their own means. Hold on one second. I'm going to get something. There's something I want to read. Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
You good? Oh, that's exactly. I mean, look at journalism today, Matthew. It's 100% propaganda tool. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch any of that CNN or nothing. I don't watch any of that crap. You can't. You're only going to hear one brainwashed, weird story after another, and it's all one big lie after another. I hate. I'll be honest. I'll go ahead and say I hate journalists. I honestly hate journalists. They could all be put into prison as far as I'm concerned. They're all pushing propaganda, and I think they're all freaking evil, to be honest with you. That's just my personal opinion. I do not like journalists, especially today. Good Lord, the amount of bullshit that they propagate and instigate, cancel culture. They could, get out of here. We don't have any room for you in my world.
Yeah, I'm here, but just give me a minute. I'll try to find what I'm looking for here.
Oh, that's the thing. The average person can't hear. The average person is, what's the old saying they use now? The NPC. They're just kind of there,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. They can't filter it out. I mean, there's plenty of people that'll feed you all kinds of weird, stuff they hear from, I don't know, their latest, soup du jour when it comes to journalism, I suppose. Their favorite personality. Anderson Cooper said this, so it must be right. Oh, okay. Do you also know he's schizophrenic? He's legitimately a schizophrenic. Did you know that? He actually hears voices in his head all the time. He actually wears an earpiece, so that plays white. Anderson Cooper. He's a schizophrenic.
Really?
He hears voices in his ear, so he has to wear a white noise earplug in his ear, so one of his ears, so he can kind of drown out the voices. Oh, let me scroll up, Tyler. Oh, they don't care. They don't care, Tyler. They don't care about none of that. A lot of these politicians don't even know what the hell it means to be an American. I mean, you can't tell me you're an American if you say you like open borders. Sorry, wrong answer. Give me a break. Right. I mean, Corey, dude. I mean, how many our grandparents and their brothers and sisters be rolling around in their freaking graves seeing what's going on in the world right now? I mean, holy crap. I'm honestly lucky my grandfather ain't around anymore, because if he was still alive, I mean, shit. I mean, he would see it was all for nothing fighting World War II in Korea.
Okay, are you ready to hear this? I got to leave out a couple of things because it's going to give it away. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I'm just going to start here. It says, parties furiously attacked each other as enemies of the Constitution. Party loyalties became more intense and began to override personal ties. As every aspect of American life became politicized, people who had known one another their whole lives now crossed streets to avoid confrontations. Personal differences easily spilled into violence, and fighting erupted in state legislatures and even in the federal Congress. Public passions and partisanship, and indeed public hysteria, had increased to the point where armed conflict among the states and the American people seemed likely. By the end of the decade, in the opinion of a certain foreign secretary, the whole system of American government seemed to be tottering on its foundations. When do you think that was?
Was that prior to Civil War? Was that the old?
Can anyone in the guess? Anyone in the chat? Fair to take a stab of when that, what period that is being written about? Let's see. Oh, 1 week ago. Yeah, it could be, right?
Hey,
it could be 1 week ago, right?
Might as well be, man.
Could be 1 week ago.
Might as well be.
Senior says he wants me to read it again. All right. Give me a moment. Now I got to find it again. Way to go, Senior. Okay, I'll read it again. Where did I got to leave out something. Parties, talking about political parties, furiously attacked each other as enemies of the Constitution. Party loyalties became more intense and became to override personal ties as every aspect of American life became politicized. People who had known one another their whole lives now crossed streets to avoid confrontations. Personal differences easily spilled into violence, and fighting erupted in the state legislatures, even in the federal Congress. Public passions and partisanship, and indeed public hysteria, had increased to the point where armed conflict among states and the American people seemed likely. By the end of the decade, in the opinion of a certain foreign secretary, the whole system of American government seemed to be tottering to its foundations.
Oh, is that when Andrew Jackson beat somebody up in legislature over
nope.
slavery?
Oh, Shortall says World War II. No. Corey Cooper says Civil War. No. Vietnam era? No. 9/11? No. The 60s? No. This was America in 1789. In 1789.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
This is shortly after the Constitution was ratified in 1787. That's how bad political angst was reverberating through the American public and government. So there you go. This is something that's inherent in this country. That's just what it is. But you got to be able to find a way to get through it. And we do. Throughout history, throughout American history, we've found ways to get through it. But it's just it's just when you're actually living in it, it's a little bit different than, when you're reading about what happened in history, because, this stuff actually happened. And the parties I had it because they talked about Federalist and Republican.
Right.
If I said Federalist and Republican, that would have been a dead giveaway. That it was revolutionary times. So there you go. That's the type of political angst that was happening. Now, don't get me Civil War, during the Civil War. Oh yeah, it was just as bad. I mean, you got congressmen beating the shit out of people. They were bringing guns into the House of Representatives.
Well, they even had duels, man.
Duels was a big thing, even in revolutionary times.
Yeah.
Duels was a test of your man. They weren't meant to kill people. It was a test of your courage and your quote unquote gentlemanness. To be a gentleman, you had to have inherent qualities. So there you go. There you go. I mean, like I said, I don't want you guys thinking that this is something new that we're experiencing. It's new to us because we really haven't experienced it in our lives. Unless I don't know if there's anyone in the chat, maybe Robert Rothberg. I don't think he's in here though. But no one has experienced the type of turmoil that we're going through today.
Right, yeah.
We really don't. So we've come through this before. But the thing is, I'm seeing it now, and I want us to be able to do something about it. That's my key. And I get some of these people who are running for president right now, man, absolutely, they're clowns, man. They're clowns. That Vivek guy, God, that dude, who he reminds me? You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a nerdy Trump.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
He reminds me of a nerdy Trump. He's
trying to be Trump. That's what
he's trying to be Trump. He wants to attack people and let's get out of here, dude. Get out of here. That's not being a leader. Like I said, to be a leader doesn't require you going out and just making fun of people. That's not, to me, that's uninspiring. That doesn't do nothing for the country, especially in the time that we're in today. We need strong leadership, yes.
Oh man,
but we don't need bozos.
You know what our leadership reminds me of? The Giants front office. I mean, holy hell, it's pretty damn close, dude.
Exactly. Well, Man, all right, I gotta stop. Let's talk to something about a little bit because I'm not gonna go much longer. I'm gonna wrap it up here in another 10, 15. But yeah. Well, hopefully you guys enjoy that. I kind of gets me going sometimes.
Forgot to mention on the topic of Pearl Harbor. So my grandmother, who I was on the phone with before we got on, she was telling me that when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, that the people that she knew in Japan were actually freaked out. They were actually scared. They were scared because they poked the bear, so to speak.
They poked the bear. Yeah, gotcha.
Yep.
I've already typed it in here, but the governor from Kentucky. I'm not sure who that guy is. I can't remember. You're gonna have to say his name there, Senior.
Corey, for real, man. Seriously, dude.
Oh, Corey. He said. He says who's electable. I said no. Yeah, no one. No one. Right
no one, man. Exactly.
The beating of Charles Sumner. Exactly. That's the guy that got. He made fun of this guy's cousin, basically, calling him, wow, it was pretty bad. I can't remember what exactly it was, but yeah, he damn near got beat to death. Damn near. He wasn't beat to death, but it was damn near close.
Let me see if I can find something real quick. Is there anything new in Gaza?
Yeah, there's no candidates out there that I don't like Chris Christie. I don't like Vivek by long shot. Nikki seems okay. I have to do some more reading, to be honest with you. Trump, I'm just over him. I am. I'm a big conservative. That's just who I am. But I just do not like Trump. There's something about him. It's a trust back to you. Don't get me wrong. He has, when he was president, he did do certain things that I like. But there's something about that guy. I don't know what it is.
He made a couple unforgivable errors.
Yeah.
Especially mostly do with the COVID stuff.
The COVID was what he could have handled that differently because it really put us on a track down to it's nuts. That was a huge, all the things that he did for the economy prior to it just got totally obliterated. What's up, Val? Andy Brashear. Oh, was he? No, I'm thinking of someone else. Yes. We were safe. And and I think I kind of got, and I think a lot of, I'm not like enlightening or anything here, but I don't think the rest of the world knew how to handle Trump.
Right.
He had an air of unpredictability. No one knew what the hell he was going to do.
One of my favorite clips was when he was walking with a bunch of Northern European leaders, and he pushes the Ukraine,
and he pushes them back.
The Hungarian guy behind, like, get up! No, I'm in charge here, man. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
that's the kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's we need a leader with some kind of badassery to him like that. Like,
yes.
Hey, I'm first, you're last. I'm the one who runs the show here.
And but yeah, and our economy was doing. It was humming. He did a good job with that.
Now
I don't know if the whole tariff thing against China, I don't know if that really, because I've heard some economists say, sometimes that doesn't, the prices get passed on to the consumer. That eventually happens. They just raise their prices. That's just what happens. But I think he could have taken a stronger line against China rather than just tariffs. There could have been other things he could have done. And he started shifting that way. I know he went to a one China policy where they wanted to confront China, but not being reelected. And honestly, it's reelecting him now it's not like it's not going to start over from where he left off, because you had Biden in there for 4 years that just messed everything up. So it's like, I'd rather get someone in there that could possibly be in there for 2 terms, and he can't. But, what else was I going to say? It's, I just don't, I don't know. Just something about it. And it seems like he's going to be more on a revenge. I said this before. It's going to be more of a revenge thing. And honestly, I can't blame him. I mean, how much he's been attacked, I get it. But as far as being president of the United States, you got to kind of get above that fray. You have to. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult, but sometimes you have to be above the fray. Be a leader. That's all I'm saying. I keep going back to that.
RFK. Hey, did you hear what he said? He said he had he was on Epstein's flight and he had relations with Ghislaine Maxwell. I wonder how much more he knows, man.
Where else we got? Tyler's like, do you expect a matter of time before the U.S. experience another revolution? I don't think, not a revolutionary, a civil war, not revolution.
Well, Tyler, the reason for the whole DADT thing was to prevent intelligence people from being blackmailed. That's the LGBT thing in the military. It's not about them being what they are. It's just a factor open to blackmail more than anybody else.
You know, and I have a thing. You know, with the when you're talking about the military, I said this before. The ultimate things that the military do is to kill people, break things. That is the purpose of the military, right? It's not meant. The military is not meant for social experiments.
No, not at all.
It's not. No, but and if you're gonna, don't come after me and say, well, you know, allowing blacks in the military that's not a social experiment. A black person is a person just like me and you. There's no difference. Everyone's equal. Doesn't matter what color of skin you have, whatever it may be. But when you're coming in the military and you're trying to do literally social experiments,
with all the
that's you're taking it on a whole different level. We're not meant here, or the military wasn't meant. You're meant to defend the nation, and if so, give your life for the country.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal. I did this for all my airmen when I was an instructor. I'd ask them, you know, what was the reason why you joined the military? Very few of them, maybe 2 or 3 at the most, would sign for because they wanted to defend the nation.
Right.
Very few. A lot of people were honest, you know, hey, I'm here for the education. Yeah, you can't beat it. Montgomery GI Bill is fantastic. It's a huge benefit. Some people want to learn a skill. That's fine. You want to do that. Okay. That's your choice. But you also got to remember, when the time calls, you need to be whatever your job may be in the military, and it's going to be meant to fight a war, defend the nation. So that's the ultimate. I'm not all about, hey, let's try these social experiments to see, you know, how this works. No, you're jeopardizing the security of the nation when you do that, and you can't do that.
I remember when DADT was repealed, and I remember troops coming out like, "Oh yeah, I'm gay." Like, okay, so is that your identity now? Like, are you saying you're not a soldier?
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of you even mentioning it? I don't care.
No
one cares.
I have absolutely no issue with anyone's, you know, lifestyle.
Right.
That's your choice. You know what? That's your choice. You know, whatever makes you happy, that's fine. As long as you're not infringing on my rights, as long as you're not infringing on, you know, my way of life, that's fine. Hey, do what you want to do, right? But guess what? We're all Americans. Whether you hate the country, whether you love the country, we're all Americans. Everyone can have their opinion on what they think it should be better. But you know what? We're all Americans, and we all are under one flag, right? We don't need other flags to determine who we are. We don't. You want to be proud of your heritage? That's fine. That's awesome. I'm all for that. Do what you want to do with your culture, your lifestyle. But when you're here in the United States, you are an American. Be proud of that. That's okay. Do we have faults? Absolutely. No one on this earth is perfect. Not one person, right? There's only one perfect person, but that's a discussion for another time. Be proud of where you're from. There's nothing wrong with that. Someone from China, be proud of being Chinese. You're from Mexico, be proud of being from Mexico. You're American, be proud of being an American. That's all I want. But it's not difficult. People overcomplicate things, and I hate that.
But
all it takes is just I don't know. I don't know what the answer is anymore.
I do have a word of advice for anybody who's going to be an NCO. When you have a work detail, don't put Mexicans or Puerto Ricans. It kind of doesn't go very well.
Yeah, I know.
Shit,
but do you understand what I'm going? It's just.
Oh no, I get you. We used to have a
And,
saying. We had a saying there. We all bleed green. I mean, it's simple as
yeah, and
that.
the illegal immigration has to stop. I agree with that, Corey. Yeah, that's an issue. But I'm talking about people who are here in America. I'm kind of speaking to the people who have an issue being, with America. Like I
Right.
said, if you want to highlight our wrongs, that's fine. Name me one country that doesn't have some type of history that's not good, that's bad. Name me one. You can't name a country that has been totally innocent of any wrongdoings. But when you focus on that, that's where things start turning sideways. Understand the bad and learn from it, and then continue forward and focus on the good. Otherwise, people are just going to be miserable. And unfortunately, it seems like the human race is kind of wired to always want to be negative.
Oh man,
Kind of like how I am with the Giants.
Well, I mean, shit. Did they even give you any help to begin with?
Oh man, I'm going all over the place with this today. Oh my gosh. Hey, what's up, Central Valley Kings? I see you in there. But yeah, I'm enough. I have enough. No news. I haven't heard any news on baseball. It's 11:39 here in the Pacific. I haven't heard anything.
So the Japanese news has got
that. I'm not sure, Tyler. I'm not sure about that.
Let me see what these clowns talking about.
I'm sure there's nothing news. Otherwise, I would be freaking getting texts out the yin yang. That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. That's probably why Ohtani didn't announce today, because I didn't even think about the whole December 7th. Maybe he doesn't want to, infringe upon that.
Yeah, the Japanese are pretty self-conscious when it comes to the World War II related stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to be shutting it down, Chardo. Maybe next time. We started a little bit late, and I don't want to be on here.
Check out some fantasy real quick. Let me see what we got
here. It was strong after September 11th, Corey. It was strong after September 11th. I saw that. That was probably the last time that we were really unified in one direction. So yeah, that would probably be the last time. 2001. Well, and 2002. Yeah. All right. Who are you facing this week?
I got Los.
You got Los. Nice. It's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
You might be able to get a bye week in your playoff.
Who, me?
Yeah.
If I could beat Carlo, we'll see what happens. Oh, have they said what?
There's two playoff brackets. There's the championship, and then there's the six.
The scrubs. The scrubs.
The consolation prize.
Yeah. Let me see something here. I better take a look at my damn team real quick to see if there's any updates.
Yeah, Christian Kirk
is out.
Smoked. Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is probably out. I haven't heard. Palmer, I think, is out.
What's happening with him, man?
Dalton Schultz. What's Schultz doing here? He missed.
Schultz is injured again.
Didn't practice Thursday. That's not good. So I wind up picking up Beathard. So, now he's questionable?
Are you serious?
Lane limited up left shoulder.
Oh, he should be fine. That's not his passing.
That's not his throwing shoulder. So, but I should probably get at least 10 points from him. I'm guessing, huh?
Yeah, he should. I'm looking at your.
Gosh, so I got Jake Browning as my main quarterback.
Hey, you know what, man? He looked pretty damn good the other day.
Yeah, he did.
Dude. So I'm okay with that. He's still rolling the dice, but yeah.
Yeah, I picked up Minnesota's defense. They're playing the Raiders. That should be decent.
Who was on the player list? Not the player list.
Let's see. I'm just looking at the Buster Boys. Looks like I'm just looking at the projections. I already know how that is. Sometimes that doesn't all pan out.
Somebody dropped Tyjae Spears, huh?
Isn't that the guy that Los had for the longest time?
Yeah, he was holding on to him. Yeah, Mo. He's from Folsom. He went to Folsom High School. He's a Bulldog. That was one of our rival high schools, and I went to Castle Roble.
A pop culture show? Huh, maybe. Not too keen on that. Not too keen on that.
I don't.
He's real quick. Let me ask you MLB question. Braves just ate 24,000 or 24 million of dead salary on top of Kalenic's contract just to get Kalenic. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe I've seen a change. He's got some skills. We'll see. Maybe Atlanta could do something with him. But they dumped a whole bunch of other salary, didn't they? I don't know. I don't know what Atlanta's going to do. I don't underestimate them, though. Anthropoulos, man, that guy knows what he's doing.
And Ryan in the quarterfinal. Interesting.
Have we signed Bader
Yeah,
yet?
but
I'm telling you, be ready for it. NorCal Sports Network is going to go nuclear. Dan's already said it. We're going to go nuclear if this offseason looks bad. Do I like pop culture? Yeah. I mean, if you're like a sociologist, like study societies and cultures, yeah, it could kind of, you could kind of get a feel for what each culture and society is like. Pop culture tells a lot about it. Had a huge effect after World War II. Actually, yeah, after World War II. Germans didn't like all the American music and dance that was coming into their country. They thought it was polluting the youth of Germany. Huh.
Well, I can see that being right today.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I don't want Harrison Bader. His offensive, no, he's a good defender. Yeah, or a good defensive outfielder, but his bat. Giants got plenty of those guys. Giants got too many of the quote unquote Harrison Bader types. We need to get rid of them. How about we go trade for a Rosarena? That'd be fine. Sign Hoskins. I don't know what other trade you can make. A Rosarena would be awesome in the outfield. I would love that. Even if you sign Bellinger. If you had Bellinger and a Rosarena in the outfield, phew, Giants would be doing so. And then you get Rhys Hoskins at first. That's 3 guys in a lineup that will play every single day. That's what we need. We need everyday players in that lineup. I understand people want to focus on pitching. I get pitching, but if you don't have a lineup that can score, you can't roll out. You can't roll out the same roster from 2022 and 2023. You can't do that. You can't. And yep, Dan even said that. Flattery. Giants will probably sign him.
Yep. Excuse me.
Yeah, Bellinger. Yelich, I don't know, man. I know he kind of had a little bit of a resurgence, but I know his back. He doesn't have exactly the best back. How's that going to play in San Francisco when you're injury? I don't know. I don't like the Korean center fielder.
Like
the
cold
KBO
weather.
kid, Lee.
I don't like him either.
Well, did you hear? I asked Casey that exact question. Is it difficult to play in the weather in San Francisco? He said for him, it's not a problem. But then again, he's young and he's not battling injury.
And when you're an older guy and the cold weather, man, I mean, me, you, and
Yeah.
guys in the chat probably know what we're talking about, right?
Exactly. So, like I said, that's only asking one player that's fairly young. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna get ready to shut this down. Let me get the music going here. All right.
It's not a
What's that?
Lee.
Oh, Lee. I don't like Lee.
No, I don't like him.
As a center fielder, KBO is not exactly. If it was, MPB,
It's not very competitive.
Nippon, professional baseball, I like that. They're up there, but KBO is not quite. Well, it's not at the MLB level.
Which goes and neither is the MPB, but I mean, it also kind of reminds you, $300 million for Yamamoto might be a little overkill.
And anxiety might pay for stuff. He might overpay. And you know what? That's gonna be the superstar everyone talks about. That's the superstar. All right, take it easy, Chardell. Thanks for joining, man.
Snell was talking about Seattle on one of his live streams.
Yeah. He's probably gonna.
He's from Seattle.
He probably will misdirect, but yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Dylan D-Day Dodd. Born on D-Day. Ooh. Oh yeah, they might call up that guy. They said he was gonna get a Sasugo. I think they said he was supposed to get a call up, but he injured his hand or something, so that's why he didn't get called up at the end of last year. He might be okay, but we'll see.
Oh man, if Ohtani goes to the Dodgers, we are cemented in failure. Cemented in failure.
Yeah, did you see who Arizona signed?
Yeah, I sure as hell did. That's also not good news for us either, man. Jesus.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Apparently, he was supposed to go to the Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
If I remember correctly, I read an article where he's supposed to go to the Dodgers, but something happened there. It fell out, and he went to the Diamondbacks. He chose the Diamondbacks instead.
Alrighty, guys, I'm ready to shut this down. Yeah, we're no NorCal tomorrow unless something breaks. I think our next show is going to be Saturday at 8 o'clock. I think that's what Dan said. So look for me on NorCal Sports Network. Our next show, probably after the weekend, maybe Monday, Tuesday, somewhere around there. And what a rush. I don't know, man. My throat's killing me. I'm going to stick with the woo. Let me get over this damn cold a little bit more, and then I could do a what a rush. You too, Val. Thanks for joining, man.
Have a good one, Val.
Like I said, NorCal Sports Network, just be looking for us. If anything drops, we'll be first to report when Ohtani goes to the Angels, as predicted by Buster, Dan's dog. That's not up to me there, Chardell. If Dan wants you to come on, we could do it. We'll see. We'll see how everything pans out. But hey, guys, thanks for sticking around, dealing with my diatribe, my numerous diatribes that I had today.
No, you were on one, man. I just sat back.
Oh my God, dude. Sometimes I gotta go. Sometimes I just gotta go. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you showing up. Yeah. Guys, we'll see you in the next one. Will, thanks for joining as usual.
As always, I appreciate it.
And we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Later, dudes.
See ya.
Peace.